So we got a whole bunch of Pokemon Go news that we got to talk about, and I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed. There's just a lot that's going to be happening, and a lot of it is actually pretty cool. Some of it, not so much, but we'll get into that. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of different events, like this Kanto Celebration event. We're also going to be talking about some things related to the Wild Area event and a whole bunch more. So yeah, let's just get right into it. Alright, how's it going everyone? Count Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon GO video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So this is going to be the second video that I shoot here in Korea, and I've been enjoying my trip. I'm a little concerned because they're playing some K-pop in this cafe. It's a very beautiful cafe, so figured I'd shoot a video here. But yeah, maybe this will be dinged with copyright because, my goodness, I forget that K-pop is everywhere here in Korea, so you can't escape it. But anyway, today we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff that's going to be happening in Pokemon Go, and I will say that a lot of this stuff is really exciting. Something is not as exciting, and we'll get into that, but overall I feel like the fall is going to be a really great season for Pokemon Go. Let's start with some of the good things. First and foremost, we are getting the Wild Area event. Of course, this was the first thing that we got last year, or not the first thing, but it was a major event that made a debut last year. And overall, it was received very positively. Niantic tried out a lot of really cool things. They gave us a new kind of Pokemon we can catch in the wild. It's the powered up, the mighty Pokemon. I thought that was really cool. And I thought it actually added a lot of flavor and added a lot of depth to that event. And of course, we saw the debut of Gigantamax Toxtricity. That was a really cool thing. And overall, I felt like the vibes were really cool. I felt like it lived up to the hype, that it was supposed to be kind of like a major event, just like Pokemon Go Fest and Pokemon Go Tour, and I think it did that job really well. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to do this year, and it looks like we got some teasers for it. And oh boy, so first of all, we got Gigantamax Grimmsnarl. That's going to be very interesting. You can see it kind of in the image. I actually don't know what Grimmsnarl is. It's probably this Pokemon in the middle. Yeah, I'm very unfamiliar with a lot of Pokemon past Gen 6, but yeah, at the very least, from what I'm seeing, that is going to be a part of this Wild Area event. And we're also seeing a whole bunch of other Pokemon, like we see Galarian Ponyta and Rapidash. That's very interesting. We are seeing Houndoom and Houndour in the background. I think it's going to be very interesting. They haven't really revealed much, just this image. But I do think that there's a lot to look forward to if it's going to be anything like last year. The one thing I will say is that Niantic always does these sort of live events really well. Pokemon Go Fest, Go Tour, and then of course the Wild Area event. They tend to be really fun. So make sure you mark your calendars. You will not want to miss out on this one, especially with the Max Finale event. I think a lot of players were a little disappointed by that. I think Niantic will rebound. They tend to do that. If they throw an event that's not necessarily well received, typically the next major event is going to be well received. So that is something you should keep in mind. All right, now the next thing I want to talk about is going to be something that I felt like was not necessary, I shouldn't say not necessary, more so that it's just, I feel like we've had this type of event so often. It's going to be a Kanto Celebration event. Yeah, I know for a lot of you, you're probably immediately like, again, yeah. For longtime players, we always get Kanto events. I don't know why, it just seems like Niantic has this fixation with the Kanto region, but we're getting a Kanto region event once again. The only thing that's going to be different this time from what I've seen is that they're going to be having the Dynamax Legendary Birds, which of course is actually different from last time because they were not around the last time. But for the most part, there's a lot of things that are very similar. There's going to be a timed research, which is going to give you either Farfetch'd or Kangaskhan, Mr. Mime, and then of course Tauros. These are all the regionals from the Kanto region. And there's a lot of other things that we've essentially seen before. I think one thing that's going to be nice about this event is the fact that if you're a newer player, if you're someone who started very recently, you're actually going to be able to get a lot of Pokemon that you're probably missing from your Pokedex. So that's probably one of the biggest pluses with this Kanto event. But aside from that, I will say Yeah, not necessarily that exciting, unfortunately, but we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe it will actually be something that a lot of players will enjoy. But yeah. Now, there's another event that's going to be happening, and I'm actually excited about this one. It's going to be a Pokemon debut, and on top of that, it's a Mega Pokemon debut, actually. We're going to get a raid day featuring Mega Sharpedo, and this is actually going to be happening on Sunday, September 7th from 2 o'clock p.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. local time. It's going to be the day that I'm flying back from Korea, so unfortunately, just like the Max Finale events, I'm going to be missing this event. I really hope they do some redos for these sort of things. At least for this raid day, I can confidently say that Mega Sharpedo is going to probably be in the Mega Evolution rotation shortly after this raid day. So at the very least, I won't miss out on this Mega Evolution, but I also feel like it's a little bit of a bummer that I'm going to be missing out on this raid day. Because Shiny Sharpedo is actually a pretty cool one. I already have one in my collection, but I think it would have been cool to get one during this raid day, especially because there's going to be a whole bunch of free raid passes. So for the event, of course, it's going to be on September 7th. The feature Pokemon is, of course, Mega Sharpedo. And then, of course, we're going to be getting some event bonuses that are very typical with raid days. We're going to get remote raid pass limit increased to 20 for the entire day of Saturday, September 6th until Sunday, September 7th from 5 o'clock p.m. on September 6th until 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Sunday, September 7th. Then we're also going to get 5 additional free raid passes when you spend gym photo discs. And then, of course, increased chances of getting Shiny Sharpedo from those Mega Evolution raids. There's also going to be an event ticket for $4.99 USD or the equivalent pricing tier in your local currency. That's going to give you 8 additional free raid passes from spinning gym photo discs. You're going to get an increased chance to get Rare Candy XL from raid battles, 50% more XP from raid battles, and 2 times Stardust from raid battles. I will say that when it comes to these sort of event tickets, raid day tickets are actually worth the money, considering that you do get yourself a good amount of raid passes that are somewhat equal to about $5, but you also get the nice bonuses of the increased XL candies, or the XL candy rare candies, and then of course the experience and Stardust bonuses, which you should not sleep on, because if you're doing a whole bunch of raids on a raid day, having the double for those bonuses actually adds up to a lot. So yeah, this is basically it for this raid day, and I do think it's worth going for. Yeah. All right, so finally, the last thing I want to talk about is, of course, this next season. The next season of Pokemon GO. That was something that was announced recently. I did not make a video about it, of course. But overall, I think it's pretty exciting stuff. First and foremost, it's going to be I don't want to say it's like themed around certain Pokemon, but they did tease the release of Mega METAGROSS. This is a Mega Evolution that a lot of players have been wanting in Pokemon GO. And then, of course, we're also going to be seeing the return of Keldeo. There's going to be a special research for you to get Keldeo, but this time it's going to be for its Resolute form, which I think is a much cooler form of this Pokemon. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting thing. I think a lot of players have been asking for Keldeo. I feel like a lot of players were complaining that you could only get one Keldeo and that you had to pay for it, and they promised that it would make a return, and it's been years since they made that promise. We're finally getting Keldeo coming back to the game, but this time it's going to be the Resolute version. And then, of course, we got the Mega debuts for Sharpedo as well as METAGROSS, but also Camerupt. So it looks like they're finally putting a bow on Mega Evolutions. It looks like some of the remaining Mega Evolutions are finally coming out, and it's all, of course, going to culminate to the release of Mega Mewtwo, which at this point I feel like is probably going to come out next year with Pokemon Go Fest. I think that's going to be the major highlight of that event. I know I said that for this year, but I think for sure it'll be next year. Don't quote me on that. I could be completely wrong and they're saving it for several years down the line when they need more players to start engaging with games. I don't know. Another thing that's going to be with this next season is a new evolution of, what is it? The Appleton? Yeah. But Diplin and Hydrapple are now going to be available. So for that Pokemon, with its many different evolution forms, if you want these 2 specific forms, you're going to be able to get it during this season. Now, for the Dynamax battles and Gigantamax battles, they tease that Gigantamax Garbodor is going to be coming, Shadow Groudon is also going to be coming, as well as Dynamax Duraludon. I do not know that Pokemon. Again, I'm not familiar with some of the more recent Pokemon. But yeah, those are some Gigantamax Pokemon and Dynamax Pokemon that are going to be coming during this season. Now, in terms of community days, of course, we already know that Flabébé is going to be getting a community day in September. That's going to be on September 14. And then on October 12th, we're going to be getting a community day. And then, of course, on November 30th, we're going to be getting the last community day of the year before the December recap community day. I don't really have any predictions for what these community days could be, but at least for the October community day, we could probably guess that it's going to be some sort of ghost type Pokemon or some sort of, I guess, fall or autumn themed Pokemon. Maybe it's going to be a ghost type Pokemon. I really do not know at this point because it seems like they haven't been following that pattern for a while now. But yeah, at least for October, we could predict it could be that. For November, I think it could potentially be a combo community day where you have a Pokemon with two different forms. We've seen that before with like Ponyta Community Day, and of course with like, actually, we never had Vulpix, so it could potentially be a Vulpix Community Day. I think that would be very interesting. We'll just have to wait and see. There's of course going to be a Go Pass that's going to be throughout the entirety of this month or the season. They did not necessarily say what the deluxe reward is going to be. I really hope it ends up being a golden bottle cap. Possibly it's going to be probably just a lucky trinket, and then they'll save the golden bottle cap for the wild area event. I really think that's probably more of a possibility, but maybe we could hope for better results. All right, and then we of course know that starting actually August 25th, or no, actually, October 14, we're going to be able to increase the levels of our trainers up to level 80. And I do think I did see somewhere that Niantic is going to actually grandfather in a lot of people who are already level 50 and actually scale up their level, their new level, to what it would be with the amount of experience and effort. So a lot of players may be logging in and they could find themselves being at level, I think it's going to be either 71 or 65, somewhere around there. But yeah, I think that's going to be very interesting. But again, this is not like an official confirmation from Niantic. It's just something that I've heard from the grapevine. So yeah, that's something we can look forward to. And then of course, there's going to be weekly challenges, a new Go battling season, Pokestop showcases, and there's also going to be some seasonal rotations when it comes to Pokemon in the wild and raids. Yeah, overall, I think this season is looking pretty decent. Finally, let's talk about the seasonal bonuses, because personally, I think these bonuses are actually pretty decent. Sometimes we get really good seasonal bonuses, sometimes we get some that are just completely ignorable. This time, I think it's somewhere in the middle. So, first and foremost, when you catch a Pokemon from 5-star raid bosses during the raid hour, you're actually going to get one guaranteed rare candy XL. That's a very interesting one because first and foremost, it looks like it's going to be from 5-star raids during a raid hour. So every Wednesday, those raid hours are actually going to be way more important because Rare Candy XL, probably one of the best items in the game when it comes to powering up your Pokemon. You do get a lot out of that item. So yeah, that is something you should keep in mind during this season. And then trainers level 31 and up are going to receive one guaranteed Candy XL when they trade Pokemon, so that bonus is back. That is a very popular bonus. You're also going to get one additional candy when you trade Pokemon, another really popular bonus. And then you're going to get increased experience for the 7-day Pokestop spin streak, and then increased XP and Stardust for a 7-day Pokemon catch streak. And then you're going to get increased experience from going up a friendship level as well. So it's really going to be all about experience. That makes sense because they're increasing the level cap. And then another thing is, of course, they're doing a whole bunch with trading. And we, of course, know that there is going to be an item that's going to be added to the game that's going to allow global trading. So everything seems to be on brand with some of the upcoming features. Pretty cool stuff. And then, of course, there's going to be deals on the web store. Typically, they are good or bad depending on your situation. Yeah, overall, I think the season is going to be pretty exciting. And to cap out this video, I will say that when it comes to Pokemon Go, we've certainly seen a lot of highs. We've seen a lot of positive momentum with this game, and a big part of that is, of course, Scopely. But I also think there's been a few missteps. I think there's been a few parts in this previous season that a lot of players were saying was a huge disappointment. I really do think this season will be a great opportunity for them to really produce some great content, and I really hope they do that. Of course, this Kanto celebration event is a bit mid. It's kind of weird that the season is going to be starting off with a mid event, but I still think there's a lot of good things to look forward to. So Yeah, but that's pretty much going to be it. This pretty much covers everything. Hopefully this video will not be dinged by the copyrighted music. I know K-pop companies can be very strict when it comes to these sort of things, but hopefully it won't be a big issue. And yeah, I'm going to spend the rest of my day here in Korea drinking iced Americanos. It's crazy because I typically hate iced Americanos. I think it's disgusting. I think it's like drinking an ashtray with water. Never tasted really good to me. I do like espressos, I just don't like Americanos. But since I came to Korea, it has changed my mind. I've always wondered why Koreans love iced Americanos. I get it. They actually make them really good here. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be my closing thoughts. Definitely share your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think about everything that I talked about? What is something you're particularly looking forward to? Definitely share what that is, and let's have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget that notification bell as well, so you know when I'm going to be uploading videos. And real quick, let me give a shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you enjoy my videos, if you feel like you want to support my channel in a big way, the best way you can do that is going to be by becoming a Patreon member. And if you choose to do that, I'm going to add you to my Pokemon Go friends list. So that means for stuff like remote raids, the friendship system, opening and sending gifts, different things like that. If you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. I'll put a link to it in the description below. And yeah, maybe it would help me out because I'm pretty sure this video is going to be demonetized because of all this copyrighted music. I don't really care. I wanted to record a video here. This is a great venue. And of course, if you want to see pictures of this venue, if you want to see what I'm doing here in Korea, make sure you go and follow me on social media, in particular, Twitter, Instagram, or I should say X, Instagram, as well as the Twitter adjacent that Instagram is, yeah. But anyway, the platform is on the bottom of the screen. My handle is, of course, @Jinsula. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow. And yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula, here from Korea, telling you that you need to be safe, have fun, love yourself, look at yourself in the mirror, tell yourself that you're awesome because I think you're awesome. And I'll catch you all later.